What's up, everybody? We're live watching the current Dave Portnoy with Hayden. It's pretty crazy seeing everything that happened with Libra. We're going to chat a little bit about Libra, some of my thoughts, what I'm thinking, what my plans are, what the market's currently doing, my plans for that. So we'll see. Things are kind of crazy right now. Good morning, Supernova. Alex, what's up? Can y'all hear this okay? Can't hear it. Let me see if I can change that. Oh, here we go.
I don't have anything to gain. I'm just getting cooked. People are all over just roasting.
Everybody's cooking, and they're again. Listen.
Rio Porte, good morning from Argentina. Oof.
When a president's involved, that's how I got. So, but anytime people
can y'all hear the video that I'm watching?
People losing money complain. Like if someone.
Perfect. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome.
Coins, Dave, Maximus, Stulimus, and they lose money.
This is a live conversation. You got 280K people watching this.
But with the president,
Dave Portnoy, Hayden.
Man, he fucked you. Like, and whether it would have gone south anyways.
It's sound, but it's very low.
And then not involved.
But look, it wouldn't have gone. It wouldn't have gone south.
That should be better.
Again, I encourage people to look. I'm not going to name other coins for the sake of not getting myself in further issues. But if you look at major big meme coins, they're all down 80%. They're all down 90%. They've all had money extracted from them.
Two scammers live, right?
This one was colossal because it was.
Can y'all hear it now? Not much better.
Obviously, it shouldn't have happened. But again, you're choosing back something that has only a tweet backed from it, right? And it's a tweet from a really important guy. I understand that. I would have.
It's very low. Yeah, I mean, I have the volume turned up max.
Now I'm sitting in an impossible scenario, and everyone's just roasting me.
Yeah, I mean,
my options are like, let's just keep talking about Libra and rip it back up. Yeah. And inject this capital.
The only thing, it should be like one tweet. It was president. Like if Trump tweeted and then Trump tweeted 20 minutes later, like, P.S. Just kidding, not involved. Like it's
there you go. That should be better.
That's what I say, and it was 7 hours. I think it was 7 hours. He left it up.
Yeah,
I think or 4 hours.
That should be better now.
The exact time.
All right, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, people think I'm dumb for like still believing what you say. I do.
Yeah, this is wild.
I spent 3 weeks with you. I don't. And even when I listen to the CoffeeZilla, it's like the things you were saying you were trying to do is kind of how you explained doing mine, except I would have put it back in and been super transparent. Everyone had every wallet. But
so if y'all didn't
I appreciate
see the interview,
even before coming on, he's like, is anything going to be off limits? I'm like, no.
Hayden guy on the right side.
I fucked myself last time when I didn't say
he did an interview
refund,
where he just basically was like, the team snipe tokens on Libra. I was involved with
listen,
so much stuff. Like I was involved.
All the comments is saying he's scumbag, he's this, he's that. I'm just as always.
And this dude
always
bought $5 million worth.
I call it as
and
I
they
see it.
Funded him.
When I had this guy,
and so of course he's gonna.
And I was talking about doing my own. I'm trying to be so honest. I felt bad for Jail Stool. I was like, do the list of Jail Stool holders because I want to airdrop. Like he seemed on board. I'm back at square one. I don't even know that's worth doing a coin. They all go bad. CoffeeZilla, when I first mentioned it, like I'm thinking about it, it's like, don't do it. None of them come out good. But CoffeeZilla hates the space. He hates like me being able to be like someone sends me a fucking dickhead coin.
All right. So obviously that happened. We also saw the interview that dropped from, if you haven't seen it, it's pretty wild, from Voidzilla. I thought I followed him. Void. Oh, wait, where's the guy? Voidzilla. Where is his account? Yeah, I think this is it. Maybe this isn't his official account. Yeah, this isn't it. Is this his YouTube? Let's see. This is crazy, dude.
Transparent about your feeling about the, which is, were you part of the Melania launch, and was that sniped as well?
This delay.
Look, I think that
it's so clear that he's like feels guilty about it
before this started. I mean, I'm happy to share the truth, but I mean, you're asking a question that's
he's been a part of so many inside launches.
Just,
not
I'll answer, but it's
coffee break,
actually going to put
hating
me
the dude that's
into
talking
a lot of danger, which is fine.
He was just on with Dave Portnoy.
I was part of it. I think the team did want to snipe it because of how big the snipe was on Trump's. And we weren't the we definitely weren't the big sniper.
We weren't the big sniper.
We were not that was what we were trying to avoid. And we didn't make any. There was no money made from the Melania team.
Look, there was no money
liquidity out.
Zero from the Melania team. There was no liquidity taken out. And then he says this.
Wow. That's
he said there was no money made.
I want to zoom in on that
the Melania
point.
Team.
You said like, well, we didn't take any liquidity out. One of the wallets we traced to the Portnoy thing,
and then he exposes him.
Your wallet, or not? I don't know if it's your wallet. Whoever's wallet that was sent money to a wallet which had got sent $1.5 million of Melania token from something called Melania-liquidity2.sol. And then that wallet seemed to sell Melania tokens that it received for free. So you said y'all didn't sell any liquidity, but I
didn't swap liquidity.
So now he's saying, now that he exposed him, he said we made no money. Now he's saying we have not swapped liquidity.
Didn't swap into single sided. I didn't say there was no money sold. There's a difference between swapping the liquidity and selling.
I don't know what he means by swapping the liquidity. And if you're swapping, you're going from one token to the other. He also mentioned single-sided liquidity. So I assume I don't think he fully understands what it means. But essentially, if you're swapping is selling. If I'm swapping Solana to USDC, I'm selling Solana into USDC. So he's swapping and selling. They're two different things. They're literally the exact same thing. How are you saying swapping and selling are two different things? He got caught in a lie saying that we didn't make any money. And then when he was exposed about it, because they have all the on-chain stuff, he then goes back and is like, oh, actually, we didn't swap. We sold. I never said we didn't make money, but literally just 1 minute before that, he said, we didn't make any money, right? It's wild. He said, and then he says, we didn't take out any single-sided liquidity. Well, that's, you probably should have, because he had single-sided liquidity on the way up, meaning as people were buying into it, he was selling out of it. So not only did they make money off of swap fees from Meteora, they made money on DCAing out of the token as it went up. And right here, they were sent 1.5 million tokens, right? So they were sent Melania tokens on the side that they just straight up sold as well to make money, $1.5 million. And they're acting like the team made no money. I mean, We're talking about millions and millions of dollars that these people made. And he tries to act like he's the victim or the team's the victim because there was another sniper that got in bigger than they did. Like they out-sniped them. You know, I'm like, that's crazy. If you are launching a token and you want to have control so that snipers my father was right, never trust anyone under 40. I mean, I'm under 40, so but like if you like his argument was like, oh, we want to snipe it so that other snipers don't get as much money. But I'm like, you can literally just in the beginning buy up like 90% of the supply. So that way, even if people do snipe it, it doesn't affect it as much. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of ways to be able to get around it. Like, but it's pretty crazy what we see here. Ridiculous makes Solana look bad. That's why it's down so much the last 4 days. Yeah, it has been down. Honestly, like, yeah, I robbed the bank, but I was not the big robber. Yeah, work with Mike. Exactly. I robbed the bank, but I was not the big robber. Pretty wild. So yeah, this whole thing, like Libra is big, but obviously like the Melania launch, there's some weird stuff that happened there.
Those are two different things.
Yeah, he's trying to say.
Okay, so y'all swapped. You didn't sell, or the other way around?
No, other way around. Other way around.
Sold, you didn't swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're innocent. Someone stole more than us. This whole thing is wild. And obviously, like, Solana's going to get a lot of FUD. But, like, Solana's the vehicle.
Are those the two main launches which you were involved in?
Which, to me, like, whenever I think about Solana, right, like, I think, okay, like, do we need more regulation? Is there something around this? Like, maybe so. But honestly, I think just like the space will evolve and mature as things like this happen on its own. I think it's like maybe there needs to be some light regulation, but the problem is that anytime regulation comes in, it always tries to run rampant. And the whole point of crypto is for it to be decentralized. And so we as a community have to learn to grow and adapt, and there will be new tools and new things that come out. There'll be more exposure. There's going to be a lot of stuff. The Solana blockchain or Web3 in general, we'll see a lot of change from this happening. But ultimately, I'm super bullish on Solana long term because I do think it's the chain of the future. The fact that people are doing this on Solana is not because Solana is a bad chain. The fact that they feel enabled in it is actually showing how powerful and how good Solana can be. In the same way that when the internet was created, there were so many terrible things that people do in the internet. But at the same time, there's so many amazing things that have come from the internet, right? The internet is just the vehicle. And the fact that the internet was so amazing in what it did allow evil things, but it also allowed so much technological advancement, so many good things as well, right? I mean, we benefit from the internet now. And so in the same way, like Solana, yeah, like Christopher Torres, like Solana is permissionless. And so it's like you can do whatever you want. But I think that ultimately, we'll just have to start to shift and change as a community to be able to make better choices, new tools, new things that'll come out that'll help us grow and not have to deal with this stuff anymore. I don't think you need regulations to jail a thief. No, I agree completely. And honestly, like, I think that this guy is like partially to blame, but he's taking all of the heat. And honestly, he's probably like a small part of it. Like, he is so small in the grand scheme of all this. There is always the fall guy. There's always the guy like this that takes the blame so that the other people can keep doing what they're doing. And so it's going to be pretty wild. We'll see. I don't want to dwell on this too long, you know what I mean? But yeah, this whole Libra thing has been pretty wild, watching it unfold and everything that's going on. I do want to talk a little bit about it because I do believe that there is more to this, right? And so, like I said, I think he's a small part of it. I think that there's many other people that were involved. You've seen a lot of like Jupe and Meteora taking heat from this. And it's like, people aren't blaming Meteora or Jupe or anything like that because they, because they're just like, hey, we, y'all's platform was the one that was used. Because people aren't blaming Solana, and Solana's platform is the one that was used. It's because there's people all over the place. I'm seeing stuff everywhere that have traced wallets back to the Meteora team. Like, they've traced wallets back to the wallets that dealt with M3, which, if y'all remember the M3 launch, that went terrible. And then they just like sent a bunch of free money out to everybody and people were happy. Except there were certain communities, there were certain people that got way more airdrop than others did and benefited from it massively. And so again, I'm not accusing them. I don't know for sure. I've done some of my own stuff on chain. There's definitely some fishy stuff. It's not enough to where I feel like I can accuse people. I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer, right? But ultimately, there's definitely some fishy stuff. And there's people, it seems like there's a lot of people coming forth with a lot of different evidence and stuff like that. And so here's Ben from Meteora talking about this, right? Y'all tell me what you think about this, okay? He said, there have been questions regarding Meteora and my involvement in Libra, so I want to explain our role and share why we work with third parties. He said, Meteora and I, so he's speaking for Meteora and himself, have never received or managed any tokens on the side. We do not receive knowledge. He says we do not receive knowledge or get involved with any off-chain dealings. We keep to the highest levels of confidentiality for any token launch happening on our platform. And so I'm not really sure what he means by any off-chain dealings. I guess he's saying like payments that would happen like off-chain, like from bank account to bank account or something like this. He's like, we don't receive any knowledge or get involved with this, which is interesting. I don't know if anyone's brought that up, like anyone's brought up like getting paid off-chain, yet he's defending this, but I don't know if anyone's ever done that. So that's interesting. And we keep to the highest levels of confidentiality for any token launch happening on our platform. To maintain the highest level, very few people in Meteora have access to any launch information. Often the launch time is only known by me. So Ben is saying he's the one that knows. And often, and the token / pool address is only given to me and an on-call engineer or two. So he's using things like saying it's only given to me, but then he's saying like one or two other random engineers that work for them are also given it. And I don't know if y'all know this, but like scandals have happened throughout history where there's people who are employed who, you know, they may make 60 grand, 80 grand a year, maybe 100 grand a year, whatever. And they have someone who comes in and says, hey, I'll pay you $100,000 for the CA to get the contract address for this. And they can literally make as much in a year in one day. And these engineers could easily, I'm not saying this has happened. I'm not making the accusation. I'm just saying to act like the fact that like, oh, it's just me and maybe one or two other engineers, that there's not a possible leak here that's causing some of these issues. Like you can say like, I didn't intentionally do this, but there could be negligence here as well. And again, I'm not saying there is, I'm just saying that this doesn't necessarily make everything just go away, make everything okay. You know what I mean? Meteora's DLMM and dynamic AMM is a complex permissionless system. We know that there's various ways to do it. I often personally provide tech support. Mistakes can seriously impact the launch. It's important to be involved. We recognize the complexity. One mistake was not prioritizing a launch product so that teams would not need to rely on handholding. I'm not sure what that has to do with this. When non-crypto natives want to launch, they need help. Hayden Davis, look here, this is important. They're talking about needing help. And so he's saying Hayden Davis of Kelsier Ventures is one of the deployer market makers that I have referred projects to over the past few months. There is nothing exclusive or unique about our relationship with Kelsier. When we launched our new meme coin AMM platform in December, I asked them, Hayden and Kelsier, if they would be interested in launching a token on the M3 platform in order to provide an initial case study on how it works. And while they deployed and launched M3 on their own, so he's saying that Hayden and Kelsier Ventures, the people that are now coming out saying that they did all this insider stuff, that they sniped their own tokens, all that kind of stuff, which would have included M3, which we knew and saw on chain. We saw this happen. People yelled about M3. And he said that while they deployed and launched M3 on their own, post-launch, we decided on a new set of tokenomics and facilitated a grant for the Meteor community as well to establish a long-term foundation for M3. So basically what happened was the M3 launch went really bad. We saw tons of snipers. People got wrecked on it the same way that we saw with Libra and many of these other tokens. And they knew, the Meteor team knew that this was through Hayden and Kelsier Ventures. And yet instead they kept referring people to them, knowing that this happened, and they doubled down on it by saying, hey, we also supported M3 and decided to take it on as a community. After this successful, if somewhat challenging launch, which is an understatement, It was not just challenging. I would say it was not successful because, again, there were snipers who absolutely destroyed people. They appeared to be trustworthy. And I referred to them a handful of other projects that had inquired with us about Deployer Firm, which included the team behind Melania. As with other projects, our role was limited to IT, support tech, like with any other unaffiliated tokens. We did not purchase, receive, or manage any on the side. And so, like, I'm not saying, again, I'm not accusing Ben of doing anything insider. What I'm saying is that there's clearly some shady stuff going on with Hayden and Kelsey or Ventures that I feel like Meteora probably should have seen, and and tons of the community was trying to make them aware of it. And if y'all remember the launch, it happened. And the Meteor team didn't even post about it. It was like everyone was in the Discord asking what was going on, all this stuff. And they were basically like, hey, we're not involved in this. But then literally a few days later, they're like, not only are we involved in it, but we're supporting it. And it was like, okay, I thought you were just not involved with it a few days ago. It seemed really weird. For Libra, although we were made aware of the possibility of it several weeks ago by Hayden, this is enough right here, right? Like, if people are made aware of a token with the token name, it's so easy to scan the blockchain and then be able to snipe that. We had no involvement in the project at all beyond IT support, including commenting on the liquidity curve, blah, blah, blah. Neither I nor the media team compromised Libra launch by leaking information. Neither did we purchase. And I'm not saying that they did do this. I'm just saying there's some weird stuff. I hope this clarifies what we did and how we interacted with teams. I'll be here to answer any questions. And then you can see there's people like this that said, man, this is a load of BS. Are you saying that you've never looked at the launches on the M3 platform that you promote as Meteora? Can you really not see the private vaults with around 200 wallets that buy up all the supply on the launches? Anyway, there's a lot of on-chain data that shows that, like, there's people doing some weird stuff. Again, I'm not saying that Ben Chow is the one doing it or Meteora is like directly involved in this, but there's definitely some stuff going on, and to act like it just doesn't exist just seems weird to me. Yeah, they had enough information. What's the actual point of Sniper? Is getting the token ahead of general market? Yeah, Gurdon. So basically, people that have the contract address, they can load it all up with tons of money, like hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. And then literally as it hits the blockchain, before it even updates on a UI where you or I could see it and try to buy it, they've already bought $1 million worth of token. And then as soon as that happens, the market cap's way up, a bunch of people start buying in, and then they slowly DCA out, they sell, and it creates a lot of sell pressure until eventually the amount of sell pressure is so high that the amount of hype and buy pressure stops, and then it starts to tank, and they continue, sometimes even harder, selling even more on the way out, dumping the chart even more. Whereas if they would have just held the tokens instead of selling them off and basically just making money off of a bunch of other people, if someone gets in early and is able to snipe and then they hold the tokens, they could sell a little bit here or there, but for the most part, they hold it, then that type of issue wouldn't happen. If they wanted to snipe and believe in the long-term growth of a token, then they can snipe it, sell a little bit on the way up. But as soon as it starts to come down, use the profits they've made on the way up to then help support the level to where then it can go up even further in the future. And then they could sell off a little more, right? There's an ethical way of doing it that we have not seen. So anyway, it's pretty wild. Why I myself only DeFi earn fees. This meme game is not for nobody, like losing money. No thanks. Yeah, look. This is obviously like a negative thing. I don't often talk about stuff or like harp on things like this. I usually don't get involved like a ridiculous amount into that kind of stuff, right? But like ultimately, I think it's important to talk about this. There's definitely some issues. There are people who have come to me or I've had conversations with that have screenshots, that have on-chain data, that honestly reveals some pretty deep involvement with this stuff, which I've hinted at in my tweets and on Discord and stuff. I'm not the one because I haven't personally found all this stuff to reveal it. I think we'll see more stuff come out soon, more things that are going to be revealed. And so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like and what happens. And so, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to let it play out. We'll see what happens. I think, yeah, so we'll see what that looks like. Let's talk about the market. We can move off of this. Obviously, the market is affected by this. There's a lot of, negativity. There's a lot of just stuff going on right now. And so I think it's important to be able to talk about the market and what's going on. Let me swap to this one here. Boop. All right, I'm still here. I'm just smaller now. And we can move forward. We got 360 people watching. Hey, thank y'all so much for being here. Obviously, we're talking about the Libra news, but a lot of what we do is we talk about education around DeFi. We talk about the market, how to make money, how to do safe things, right? And I want to talk about being safe. I want to talk about what that looks like. I've mentioned before different ways to manage your portfolio, different things like that. And I think during times like this, it's good to hedge or to kind of manage your portfolio well, so that way you're not you're not losing too much money, right? Like you want to make sure that you're positioned so that as the markets go up and down, you're able to still make money, right? You can do this with like Sol USDC pool like this, right? And so you can see like I'm earning money. I'm earning 0.66% on the 24-hour here. This is a 20 bin step, 0.2%. I have 15K in here, right? And so basically what I did is whenever Sol was around 187, 186-ish, I was like, this is going to keep falling probably down to around 180, which is what it's at right now. And so I was like, hey, let me go ahead and set up a pool. That way, as it moves down, if it continues to fall, I'll just rebalance it and I'll keep rebalancing and earning fees. And then when it eventually comes back up, I'll make a lot of that money back on my TVO. But ultimately, I think this is a pretty good range that we're on right here. It's 175 all the way up to 200. And I think it'll range here for a little while. If this ends up moving down too far, like down to 177, I might end up closing it and just rebalancing it, right? And I'll keep doing that. You don't want it to move out of this. But this is a way that I kind of hedge, if you would, against the market. Because as this goes down, I'm buying more Solana, right? If it goes up, well, then I'm making money on my TVL as well as I sell my Solana. But ultimately, I'm just trying to earn fees, which I have here. I'll be setting up a DeFi tuna pool as well. I closed out of one yesterday on Jupe Sol because I had made like a couple $100 and it was near its entry point. And so I went ahead and just closed it out. And then with everything going on, I've just been kind of watching the market as well. And so this is a great way to kind of hedge against it. I'm going to talk a little bit about DeFi tuna and how you can set up a pool that is delta neutral and how that kind of hedges against the volatility of the market. And we'll talk about that a little bit as well in just a bit. But I want to talk about the market in general. And so I have a long position on Sol right now, right? And so right now it's a little bit down. Earlier it was way up. I was up like over like $2,500. I could have sold around the 186, but based on Thorbot and some of the charting and things like that, it seemed like 189, 190, somewhere up in here. You can see I have a Sol long take profit at 190.5 here is around the area that I think it was going to go up to, which it still could. It's dipping right here. I think that, again, sometimes we can read charts and we can have an idea what the market's going to do, but a lot of news and different things that comes out can shift and change that, right? And so I'm not too worried here. Our stop loss is around 178, 179. I don't have it set up I don't have it set up automatically, but manually, this is what I'm watching for. You can see on the MACD and RSI, it looks like it's about to reverse back up. So again, I'm not too worried about it. We'll continue to watch it. I think it makes sense that it came down, kind of bounced, came up, came down again. And so ultimately, we'll watch it and see. I'd like to wait, even if it takes all day or even 2 days for it to get back up to 190, 191. Which I think it could do later today or tomorrow. I'll take profit here. But if it does make its way back up to the 186 range and it looks like it may not fully make it back up, I'll probably just sell and take my profit there. But ultimately, if we're looking at this and where Solana's been, where it's going, right, there's a lot of resistance that it's going to be facing between like the 177 and 180 area, which is why I bought in around the 180, 181 area, setting up this Sol long. I'm not encouraging people to do leverage and perpetuals. This is something that I don't do all the time. I usually do on really big market swings like what we're seeing now. But one way of doing this, of longing Sol without actually taking leverage and doing perpetuals, because again, I don't recommend this, especially if you don't know what you're doing on this. But one way you can do this is just that when you see Sol falling, you can just sell your Solana for USDC. And then once Solana hits a point in which you're comfortable with, you can just use that USDC to then buy Solana back, right? And so what you've done there is you shorted Sol because you sold it for USDC. And then as it comes down, you're now longing it because you believe it's going to go up, right? And that's a great way to do it if you're comfortable, again, reading the charts and doing it with less risk. And an even less risky way, less profitable, but less risky, is to do what we're doing here, which is setting up this Sol USDC pool, right? Because as it comes down, we're earning fees. We're buying more Solana. And then as it comes back up, we'll be doing the same thing. And so instead of having to try to time the market, you just DLMM like this, which you can do on Meteora, or if because of everything going on, you don't want to use Meteora, you can use Orca. You could also use DeFi Tuna, which uses Orca, and do the same thing here, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. and earn fees, right? And again, we're okay with this. We've set a pretty good range, again, all the way down to 175, which I don't think it'll hit, but it could, all the way down to 175. So we'll see, but this is kind of how you can hedge as well. We're basically just set up a DLMM pool and allow it to move within the range and earn fees also. So JetBrain, agree 100%. The more scams, the worse it is for the space. Only spot in DLMM. Hey, yeah, like I said, I'm not encouraging perpetuals. It's something that I'm trying out a little bit that I do here and there. I've been more successful than not on it because I play it fairly safe. But yeah, we'll have to see what the market does. Ultimately, I do think that we'll see a short-term bounce back on the market, but I do think it's possible. I'm not saying this will happen, but based on some of the Thor calls and some of the charting and the market and some of the things that I've seen, it is possible that Sol over the next month or so, maybe 2 months, somewhere within the next few months, could see 150. I think Sol could see 150 at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, how it's going to happen, if it will happen, but I think there is a small chance that it does go all the way down to 150, depending on, again, the FUD, depending on what the market's looking like. But I do think that there will be a strong bounce back off of that 150. And I do believe that we see Sol hit some new all-time highs before the end of the year. And so I think Sol hit 295 kind of at its highest. I believe that we see a 350, maybe even a 400 Sol by the end of December, personally. If you look at the way the market traditionally has moved, like last year, we knew like February was a slower month, right? December, January boomed, just like what we saw. February was a slower month. And then after February, March was like a mediocre month, but we started to see it pick back up. April and May were pretty strong. June, July slowed down again. August a little bit. September, it started to pick up again. October started to pick up. And then again, November, December, January is where it was big again. And so I think we'll see a similar thing this year, especially with Trump and them pushing a lot of what they're pushing. Let me see where my stop loss is on this. I think I have it set. Oh, it's at 178. Okay. I think that's where I want it to be set. It looks like it's going to do a reversal here. So it may not happen right away, but that's what we're looking for. I may actually take the stop loss off of that. Stop loss, close, cancel stop loss. There we go. We'll see where it goes from here. If I end up taking a loss, it's fine. But one thing that I will be doing, right, like whether I take a loss on this or not, is that depending on what the market does here, I think that it's going to bounce back a little bit here. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, in the long term, I'm going to be hedging a lot. And so let me show you all this. So this is cool. So you can do this. This is DeFi too, and I've talked about this a lot. You can do this manually using like Orca or Meteora, and then also using a perpetual to short. But the great thing about DeFi Tune is you can do all of this on their platform. All right. So this is what this looks like, right? It doesn't matter what your collateral is, because ultimately it will swap this collateral, right? And so example of this, if I'm doing a 2x here and I'm borrowing 100% Sol, whether I put 50 Solana into this or I put, I have 379 USDC, you can see the delta neutral stays the same. The borrow percent stays the same, right? So you can see like this does not change anything here. And the reason why is because the collateral you're putting in will get swapped, right? And so if I'm in a 50-50 position here and I put in 50 Sol, it'll swap it for 25 Sol and 25 Sol worth of USDC. So don't worry about what you're putting in as your collateral. It'll swap and make it even for you. And so this is an interesting thing, okay? So think about this, okay? When you set up a Sol USDC pool, okay, and you set it up, like we set it up here around 186, 187, right? And so we set it up here. What we're doing, the initial two-sided liquidity, right? On the left side is USDC, and the right side is Solana, right? And so when you set this up, you are automatically 100% Sol long, right? And the reason why, when you set this up, that you're Solana long is because if the price of the token moves up, you're making money. I'm not even talking about the fees. I'm just talking about your total liquidity will go up in value because you're selling your Solana, right? but also the Solana you have is now worth more. And once you get to the end of that range, you'll have sold all your Solana, but as you're selling it, the price of Solana is going up. And so you're so long, because if it goes down, well, then you're only losing money. All of your Solana, you're buying it, right? But now it's worth less. And so anytime it's moving off the middle point, you're 100% so long making money, or you're 100% so short on this side, not. And so when you make a position like this, you're automatically in what we call a so long. And so I don't recommend, I've talked about 3x, 4x, 5x leverage on DeFi tuna before, especially the state of the market we're in now. And after testing, I don't recommend DeFi tuna using more than 2 or 2.5x leverage, right? And so the reason why is because the impermanent loss you'll take drastically goes up, okay? Drastically goes up. So you can see here, we're delta neutral at 2x. But if I go to 3x, you can see now we're not even delta neutral. We're like heavy soul short. And so you can see the difference between the 2x and the 3x. The reason why that happens is because at a 2x, you've now neutralized your long position, right? So remember, whenever we're in a general position like this, 50-50, we're 100% so long. And so when you come down here and you 2x, you now are, like I have 50 sol here. My 50 sol is now going to be 100% so long, right? But I'm leveraging another 50 sol worth, right? And if you see here, I'm borrowing 100% sol. So what ends up happening is I'm now 100% sol short on the borrowed asset, which evens it out and gives me what's called a delta neutral position. And basically what this does is that means that whenever the price of the token moves down or moves up away from my entry point, I'm less impacted than I would be if I'm like sitting here going like 3x and I'm going like really so long, or if I'm going really so short like this, right? And so you can see the difference. If I'm in a 3x and I go from 50%, I'm in a 0.67 so long. And then I go 100% here. Now I'm in a 0.22 so short. That's a massive difference, right? But if I'm doing 2x leverage, I go from a delta neutral to just a slight so long, a semi-long. So you can see like adding leverage makes what you're doing drastically different. Obviously, it can increase fees as well by a lot, but ultimately you shouldn't be worried about the fees if like your impermanent loss is going to be affected, especially with a super volatile market like we're seeing. I'm going to refresh this so this chart over here refreshes. All right, so this is what we do. I do a, this is how you kind of hedge again against what's going on. Let me see here. Apparently, Libra, Maleli is supporting Libra again, and Libra just absolutely skyrocketed. This is insane, dude. Look at this. This is insane. I don't recommend people buying this. This is like Maleli, I guess, came out again and decided to support this. I'm going to go back and talking to it, but Javier Malel just tweeted a guide on how to buy Libra. What the heck? Dude, this market is absolutely wild. Did he delete it already? No, he did. What the heck? How to buy Libra. Create a Phantom wallet, buy Solana tokens, transfer, blah, 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 paste the contract, swap to Libra. Look, I mean, this is just crazy, dude. The fact that all this happened, he literally like, the Libra literally rugged a ton of people. And then he decides to support it again, which I'm sure that, what's his face? Hayden talked about putting it back into the chart. It's like, I'm sure that's what he's going to do here. And people that buy this right now could just get rugged again. And guess what happened the first time? They did nothing for you. Do not buy this, okay? I know it's hard to watch this, and you may watch it go up to a billion, or maybe 2 billion again. I don't know what it's going to do, but don't touch this. Don't be anywhere near this. This is a giant scandal that they're now doubling down on. Wild, dude. Absolutely wild. If anything, I'm going to short the heck out of this is what I'm going to do. We'll see what happens, but pretty crazy. Pretty wild. All right, back to DeFi Tuna. So this is what we do here. So we're in Sol USDC. We're going to go 175 up to, or actually we're going to go a little lower. We're going to go, yeah, we'll do 4% either way. Maybe we'll go 5%. Let's do 5%. Yeah, this is better. All right, so we're 170 to 188. And we'll go 4.5% here, okay? And so again, I'm not doing this right now. I might do it. We'll see. But we're gonna do 2x leverage. Yeah, we're gonna go. So you can see we're actually earning pretty good on this. I'm actually gonna go a little bit wider. I'm gonna do 5.6% on either side with 2x leverage. This is giving me 2.64% a day, which is pretty insane. This is a decent range that I think it'll stay between. It could come up a lot. So we'll just have to watch that and see. Again, if you feel like it could be a little bit long, then you could do like this and set up a slight Sol long position. Again, earning roughly the same amount, but just betting on it coming up more long. You could do that. If you think it's going to be short, you can reverse it the other way as well, right? And so, but again, 2x leverage, the way that we do this is we could set up a delta neutral position by borrowing 100% Sol on the 2x, putting in a certain amount of Sol here. And this helps hedge against volatility because you're in a delta neutral position by borrowing 100% Sol. You're offsetting your Sol long, right? And again, what this does is it's basically saying like, hey, I'm going to take less impermanent loss as it gets to the edges here. But I'm not having a directional bias, which does mean that you're basically trying to earn as much fees as possible, right? And reducing how much impermanent loss you can take by doing this, right? Now, if you do go slightly Sol long, obviously, if it goes up in price here, you'll benefit more from this. The curve on the way up is much more forgiving to the end here than it is on the way down. But if it goes down, you're also going to take a larger hit, right? So you kind of have to be careful watching that and determining what you want to do there. I'm going to go into what I consider a delta neutral, but closer to a Sol semi-long. We're going to go to 0.55 here into a delta neutral, 2.0. So it's pretty much delta neutral, semi-Sol long, which you can see I'm doing that anyway. I'm going to put this actually at like 190 here. And this is how you can set it up. And this is how, again, you can hedge. So the way that people would do this manually is that they would set up a position like this. And so you can imagine if the token is going down in price, you would lose money, right? And if it goes up in price, if Sol goes up in price, then you make money, right? So how do you reduce that? If you're saying, hey, I'm happy just earning the 0.67% a day, I don't care about making money if it goes up or down, then what you could do is when you set up this pool, let's say we set it up again at 187, let's just say, right? Then what you can do is you can put out a short on Solana at 187 all the way down to, let's say, like 176, okay? Or 175, whatever you do here. Or sorry, not 175 from 186. And then what will happen is as the price, if the price goes up, you're making money on your LP, but you're losing money on your short that you made, your perpetual short, okay? And so you could also do this with lending. Again, this is more complicated, but you could do this with lending. But the idea is that however you do it, you can set it up to where you short Solana. And so that means that if the price of Solana goes up, you're making money on your LP and you'll lose it on your short you've created and it'll offset. But you'll still earn the fees, the 0.67%. And vice versa. if the token goes down, well, like we're doing now, well, my TVL is going to go down. So I'll lose value on my LP pool, but I opened a short. So I'll be making money on my short. And so basically what you can do is you can create a fully delta neutral position, meaning that you can cancel out the price going up or down and just earn the fees. Somebody in Discord just mentioned this, that you could actually set this up either as like a spot or a one-sided bid ask. And basically you can have Sol set up like this, and then you can do another position, a separate position, and you could just have USDC set up like this. And so as the price moves, right, you're basically offsetting each one, which again, you can do in like a spot or a bid ask. I would actually probably do it in like a spot position. And so basically you're offsetting whenever it goes one way or the other. Now, the only problem with this is that if it moves outside the range like this, then you're not making anything, right? So you'll need to kind of time it up. And maybe you would set it up like this, where you do like something like this, right? So that like you have a little bit of a barrier like this, and then you would reverse it and do it the other way, where you're like doing something like this, you know what I mean? So that way you're offsetting both. So there's a lot of different strategies, but anyway, on DeFi Tuna, we can just do this just like this, right? Where we can set it up and create a position, which let's go ahead and do it. I think this is a good spot. We're at 2.74% is what it's showing on the 24-hour yield. We're in a delta neutral position doing a 2x leverage. We're 4.2% on the down and we're 6.5% on the up. Again, you could set this to be equal roughly. But because of how we have this set up with the delta neutral position, it's okay if these aren't perfect here. But we are technically slightly long at 0.55, even though it doesn't show it's a semi-long. It technically is slightly. Cool. And so you can see here 2.7%. We'll watch this, see what we earn, and go from there. At this rate, Argentina will be a first world country again. Can you short on Hyperliquid if the token is listed? I'm not sure if you can. I don't really use Hyperliquid. So we'll see. If I shorted, I would do it. Oops. I would do it on, what is this? Oh, wait, not that. Yeah, right here. I would do it on ox.fun. I think I have like a couple $100 in here. If it'll go faster. I'm not going to short it right now, but I'll be watching it to potentially short it. Let's see what people are talking about. This is pretty wild. This looks interesting. Might have to watch that later. All right, let's see what people are saying. Why has Dave Portnoy just deployed 100K into an astrology coin called Libra? Did bro put the money right here? P.S. I rugged myself. I'm buying the wrong Libra. That's so weird that bro bought the wrong coin. What? Look, Gum, I swear if anybody buys Libra and cries about it, I'll book a flight to slap each one of you in the face 100 times. Yeah, don't buy this. What the heck is this? Verpix. We'll see. So yeah, we'll watch and see how my Sol USDC pool does here. Again, we're in 2x leverage on it. We've already earned 61 cents. Hey, that's pretty good. But yeah, 2.72% is great. We'll sit in this as long as we can and see how it works out. I've been looking at some of these coins, but yeah, this is pretty wild. I'm probably not going to short this. I'm not really going to mess with it. I don't know what's going to happen with it. But yeah, it's interesting to see everything down right now. We need a Sol bounce back here, honestly. We do. It looks like it's at a spot in which it should bounce back. I don't know that it will, but It's at a spot in which it should. We are manually going to close out these longs if this thing goes much lower. So we'll have to see. If you are delta neutral, isn't this a riskless position? It's not completely riskless, no, because you're still you still take in permanent loss. It's just reducing how much permanent loss that you would take, essentially, right? So like you still don't want it to go out of range, because if it does, like you'll still lose. But it's riskless in that, like, as long as it stays within your range, you won't be losing. You'll just be earning off of the fees because you're in a delta neutral position. But obviously it can still move out of your range and you can still lose money in a permanent loss that way. And obviously, like, you could go wider than this, right? Like, you can go much wider. You could do Jupe Sol, right? And you can go even wider, like, because Jupe and Sol follow each other. Oops, pools. All right, you could set up a delta neutral position on Jupe Sol and then just do like everybody would be happy with 1% a day, right? Like, why not just do this? There you go, 7.8% roughly on each side. It's like a pretty dang wide range, 1%. You know what I mean? It's like you could just set this up in a delta neutral position. I didn't put limit orders on my other one. I need to do that, and then you can do a limit order just like 0.004 like that, and then same 0.0005. Yeah, something like this, just outside your range, just to give it a little bit of leeway, right? And you can do this, right? So Jupe Sol, because they move together. Like, obviously they don't move perfectly, but like as Sol comes down, Jupe goes down. And so if you set a wide enough range, it's like, it's pretty hard for it to get to the end of the ranges here, right? And you can just earn 1% a day like this as well. And again, I'm on a 2x leverage here, 100% borrowed Jupe to do a delta neutral position to really offset a lot of the volatility and just try to earn off that 1%. If you set limit orders, then it's riskless, right? I mean, it's still not completely riskless. At the end of your ranges, you'll still take some impermanent loss. It just won't be as drastic. Yeah. Clown World said, I had limit orders set when Sol was over 280. That never went off when the price dropped. Yeah, that's something to consider as well. Like, the limit orders are not like super instant speed. And so if Sol like takes a really big dip or like pumps really fast or anything like that, like, it's still very possible for you to take loss on that, right? And so like I like to put, that's what, again, with 2x leverage, like Clown World, you probably had like a 3 or 4 or 5x leverage when that happened, right? Like your liquidation zone was probably too close to your edges. But like in this regard, look at the liquidation zone on this. It's at $23 and $315 on Sol. Like, Sol's not getting anywhere close to that. And it's because we're on 2x leverage, right? Same with Jupe Sol here. Look, 0.007. This one's not even on the chart on the downside. You can't even see it, right? And so if you only are using 2x leverage or 2.5 like max, then you really shouldn't worry about your liquidation zones if you have these set up. I do need to add some limit orders to this one, which I didn't do. We'll do 169 and 190, 1.5. I don't do any swapping because it costs if you do that. We'll edit the position here. I'm excited for more tools that are going to be coming out with DeFi Tuna. DeFi Tuna, I just really like them. I love the team. They're super ethical. Like, everything that they do, like, I just really, really like DeFi Tuna. You know, obviously with all the crazy stuff going on right now, like, yeah. But yeah, this is how I would set this up. You can see here on our, oh, look, there is no liquidation price on the downside. It doesn't even exist on this pool because we're only doing 2x leverage. But on our Sol USDC, we've already earned $1.62. So that's pretty good. We're earning 2.6% a day, which is, again, pretty good. I'll stay in this one not as long, Sol USDC. Like, I'll watch this, and at some point after it moves around a little bit and I've earned some money on it, then I'll close it out. Whereas like this Jupe Sol one, I'm not earning as much on the day, but I'm going to try to hold it a little bit longer. I want to hold this for at least a few days. If I can hold it for longer, then great. We'll see what that looks like. I'll get back to y'all on kind of what that looks like and what's going on. Oh, this is an advanced arbitrage bot. We have a dude, Alex from Rude Labs, that has an arbitrage bot as well. If anyone's interested in ever getting into that, I've talked to him. He's a great guy. This dude accidentally bought 100K worth of the wrong Libra. And then he says, anybody want to buy some fake Libra? Warning, this is a meme coin. I bought it by accident. It will be volatile. Eventually go to zero. It may rip. It may tank. Don't put more on it than you can lose. It's a collectible. Like, why would you even promote a fake Libra coin unless he's trying to get his money back? Like, how shady can you be? Like, look at this. He literally posted the CA about it. Look at Libra just tanking here, dude. Again, people that got excited and bought in here are now in a loss again. I think there's a lot of people not buying this, which is part of why it's tanking, even though Malel like came out in support of it. If your goal is 20% a month, why not just go delta neutral at 1% a day instead of DLMing crap coins? Well, that's what we do. Like part of our strategy, part of like what I talk about with being safe, I've literally mentioned this recently, is that like the DLMing meme coins, like you should be doing that with a small percentage of your portfolio. Like I literally talked about this. Here, look. Let's see here. Where is it at? Here you go. Here's Discord. I posted this. I will only be using 15% of my portfolio on active and trending meme coins, right? So you can see here, 50% staking in Sol JLP, 30% on Sol USDC, JLP Sol pools, as well as Jupe Sol. I didn't put that, which is what I'm doing on Met, DeFi Tuna, trending meme coins, Sol Decoder Bot Farmer. And obviously like this has changed a little bit. I'm not currently using the Sol Decoder Bot Farmer. I'm still using a tiny amount to DGN fund coins, like buying and selling on Vector. The trending meme coins, I'm not using 15% anymore. I'm probably using less than that, right? But maybe 5 or 10%. But overall, like I try to preach about this, right? Like you should be using only a small percent on things like that. You should focus on things like the 1%, which also I've talked about by showing the calculator, right? This is a big thing. Is there a tool or way you track your whole portfolio to make sure it's trending in the right direction? Yeah, you can use Ultra LP. It's not available to everybody right now, but it is available to sign up for beta, and then you can get it. They've been letting a lot more people in, giving out keys and stuff like that. So, but look, daily compound interest, if you can earn 1% a day and you have $2,000, I know not everyone has 2,000, right? There's people in here that have 50,000 or 100,000, and there's people in here that have like $50, right? But this is like an amount that there's a decent amount of people that can get $2 grand, right? So $2 grand, you daily reinvest 100%, which is hard to do on DeFi Tuna. You're not going to be able to daily reinvest 100%. So let's do this. Let's say you reinvest every other day like this, right? Which basically means you close out the pool and make a new one. And then you're reinvesting 100%, and you do this 1% a day, and you have $2,000. Oh wait, in 1 year, your $2,000 will be 16,000, right? Which is pretty crazy. That's pretty good, right? Like, let's say you have even more. Like, let's say you have $10,000. You can see very quickly how this could grow, 10,000 to 80,000 in a year, right? And now this is if you're earning only 1% a day, and if you're reinvesting every other day. Now, the truth is that soon enough, you'll be able to, the difference between compounding every other day and every day is astronomically different. Okay. And so DeFi Tuna is going to have something where you'll be able to compound on DeFi Tuna. Right now, the only way you can do it is if you close out of the pool and then you create a new one. But I think within a few weeks, maybe a little longer, but probably within a few weeks, they're going to have some auto compounding stuff that you can do. They're coming out with new tools and such. And when they do that, you will be able to compound every single day. And so let's assume you can compound at 1% every day with $2,000. After 1 year, that $2,000 will be worth $75,000. And that's the difference between compounding every single day and compounding like every other day. It's a massive difference. And so if you can be consistent, which is hard to do, it's hard to earn 1% every day for 365 days. But if you can find a way to do it, like on DeFi Tuna, doing this 1%, like on Jupe Sol, what we have here, or even on Sol USDC, however you do it, if you can find a way to do 1% and actually have that sit on that for a long time, you can see how quickly that can compound and add up, right? And so I think this is a great way to do this. You could also do Sol USDC like this on Meteora and earn 0.66% a day, which is what we're currently earning, I think, 0.68%, right? So if I come here and I do the same thing, it's like, okay, what if I just do Meteora? I'm not even using DeFi Tuna. I have $2,000. After 1 year of compounding this, my $2,000 is now $21,000, right? So like you can still do really, really well just earning the 0.65% a day. Like this is massive difference, right? And if you have more money than this, obviously it can be even more, but the percentages are still the same. And so that's something to think about. How do you compound on? Yeah, I just explained that. I got in pretty quick from the waitlist. Yeah, the waitlist usually isn't too long on Ultra LP, so you can make it. Hector Castillo, hola. Glad you made it. So yeah, but we set up these two on DeFi Tuna here. We still have a long position. It's been sitting around this 178 to like 179 for a while now, but you can see on the MACD and RSI, it's looking like it's going to reverse soon. And so I'm just honestly holding this. If it only comes back up a little bit and I just make a little bit of profit, that's fine. But I do expect it to come back a lot harder. I just think with a lot of the FUD and a lot of stuff going on, that's probably why it's staying down a little lower than expected here. Again, really interested to see what happens with Libra, but I'm absolutely not touching it. There's just so much crap going on with it. I definitely don't trust it. Yeah, this is pretty wild. Pretty wild. Hey, outside of Libra and all this crap going on, compared to many other coins, GFM, GoFundMe, has actually been holding really, really strong. And like usual, ARK is also holding really, really strong. Like obviously they're down, but compared to other meme coins, compared to Sol, they're actually like doing fairly well. And so just remember that. Like there's certain coins that are going to do well. Jupe has also done really, really well. It's showing that I bought some here, which I assume is me setting up my Sol Jupe pool. But yeah, Jupe's also doing really well right now. Also a lot with Jupe going on with the buybacks and stuff. We set up this Jupe Sol pool. I think we're going to see a lot of action on this Jupe Sol pool, which I think, a lot of action, a lot of volume, which will help with these returns be pretty solid. So we'll see what that looks like. And honestly, in the short term, we may see this move closer to the end of the edge before coming back down because of all the buybacks and everything that are happening with Jupe. I do think it could go up here. I could have slightly longed this, honestly. That might have been a slightly better thing to do. But I think that it's fine in the grand scheme of things long term. Yeah. I'm also going to claim these fees here. So another thing to think about is that if you're not using DeFi Tuna, or once DeFi Tuna comes out with the compounding that you can do, like you can compound more than once a day. Again, like most people in traditional finance are used to compounding every year or every month or something like that, right? And so it's much, much slower. But the fact that in crypto we can compound every single day is crazy. Like the amount of interest that you can earn. And it doesn't even have like hourly here, right? But like imagine the difference between weekly, like earning 1% over 1 year. Okay, you're at $2,000, 1%, but you're compounding weekly. Your $2,000 will be $3,367. If you can compound daily, that 1% interest, it goes up to $75K. Like the difference between daily and weekly is ridiculous, right? Like absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, let me do this. Sorry, that wasn't accurate. So if I do 1% a day or I do 7% a week, Oh, it actually ends up being the same thing. It should be more if they're doing compounding 1% a day. 75K. Well, oh yeah. So the difference would be 1% a day ends up being much more because like if you do 1.01 times like $1,000, right? You get the next day it's now $1,010, right? And so if you just keep doing this, like, and you do that for a week, like this, you can see now you're at like $1,060. And so it's not doing this correctly, but if you do a 1% or you do it weekly at 7%, it's actually going to end up being much different. But if you can even do it like hourly, which again, like, or even if you do it like twice a day, right? You're now compounding twice as fast. Like I just compounded. And so then like I can add this back in. I can do a spot here and add it back in. Now I'm not going to add it back in exactly like this because the, first of all, I had some extra USDC here. This isn't how much I had, but also because of where this is at on the chart, I'll be adding a lot of SOL into a short amount here. And so I could open up another position. I could also do like a curve position or a bid-ask position. There's a lot of different things that I could do here to compound this back in. I'm probably going to end up doing just, you know what, now I'll just do max amount here. Or I could just set up another position, right? Like another range. Actually, I think I'm just going to do this spot like this. I think I'm more bullish on it long-term going up. And so actually, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to put in 12 Solana. That's a lot. How much? Now we're going to do it like that. That works. I don't want to put a huge chunk of Solana in there. We'll just do this. Because this is about how much I actually had in fees. I had some left over on the side, but we might compound that back in. But that's basically how you do it. I watched the Portnoy Spaces with that Hayden kid. His only discernible defense was blaming snipers. Yeah. If you don't mind, can you analyze price movement on ETH? I would like to lock into the position. My price analysis on ETH is that it's not good. Don't buy ETH. I'm only on the Solana blockchain. I only do stuff on Solana. I don't do anything with Say or Sui or Abstract or Polygon or AVAX or Ethereum or Bitcoin. I don't do any of that. I just stay on Solana. He was trying to subtly blame Malay without really calling him out, presumably knowing a tweet was coming. Yeah. Token Guy, do you check other major charts for Confluence, USDT, BTC? I think SolMax, you should keep their eyes on. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I watch the other charts. Like, I watch mainly BTC. I actually don't really watch ETH that much, but I do watch Bitcoin. But, I mean, if you look at ETH, you look at Bitcoin, you look at Solana, they're all doing the exact same thing. They're all dumped. The MACD is starting to cross here, and it looks like they're going to be coming back up. And so, yeah, but they're all doing roughly the same thing. I actually don't even know if Libra's on OX Fund. Might not even be able to short it, even if you wanted to. There's a lot of other coins you could short, though. Yeah, it's not even on here. I should look at Sol ETH. Sorry, I thought you were saying I don't even know if this is the right ETH. It says wrapped ETH. Trading view. I don't. Send me the link, Dre. You'll have to send it on Twitter. I won't be able to click it on YouTube. Hey, we have over 650 people watching. Thank y'all so much for being here. Really appreciate y'all being here. We talk all things market, Web3 market, DeFi, all sorts of different strategies and things like that we use based on what's going on. I appreciate y'all being here. Hopefully you find some of this information educational. We also have my Discord, which you can check out as well. It's discord.gg/token guy. Free community there for you to come join, learn a lot of information as well there. Stay pretty active. It's a great community. It's free. Come get involved. We'd appreciate it. Also, if you don't know, a lot of times when I'm making slow trades, I use Jupiter. But for fast things, trying to get in and out of tokens, I use Good Morning, Good Night. And so if you haven't seen that before, I do have a link to that in my Discord referrals that I would, if you want to use it, I would appreciate if you did. You can find that again in the Discord under official links. If you use it, I use it as a buy and sell trade bot over here, as well as charting and gathering information and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to be getting off fairly soon. Let me see if there's any more questions or anything going on here. Let's see. Let me pull that up, Dre. Make sure I have myself muted here. Yeah, I do. Trading view. I'm just going to type it in. Binance and Sol ETH. So you look it up right here. Crypto. Sol ETH. I assume that's Ethereum, US dollar. Oh, there we go. Yuri. I got it now. Let's go straight to it. So looking at the Sol Ethereum chart, what is it? I don't use this often. Where's the, okay, so we're on 1 day here. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So if this is Sol Ethereum, how am I reading this? Sol Ethereum would be, it's showing that the price of Sol has gone down compared to Ethereum, right? I mean, that makes sense, right? A lot of the FUD around the meme coins and stuff is on Sol, so it makes sense that it's underperforming today. But like, if you look at this over the long haul, right, and not just in the short term here, you could see that like Sol has outperformed ETH like a ridiculous amount. Dre. And so like, yeah, there's days where Solana will be more volatile and you'll see it like dip pretty heavily, like here and here and here and here. But over the long haul, Sol has outperformed ETH. Yeah. But you wanted me to look at this, Dre. What did you want me to look at this for? Let's see how our DeFi tuna pools are doing. We put a little under $9,000. Oh, how long will Sol outperform ETH? I mean, Where's the day chart? I mean, since October of 23, for over a year and a half, it's outperformed it. Obviously, the FTX crash affected ETH. Affected Solana way more than it did ETH. And so you could see like this was January. This is like late 21, and this is 22. Like we saw all this happen here. This is when Solana came all the way down to like $8. ETH wasn't as affected. But then like you can see here since then, like Solana has outperformed it pretty drastically. I think Solana will forever outperform ETH, in my personal opinion. Yeah, you can do some arbitrage stuff for sure, Just. He said you could buy the dip, borrowing ETH on Camino and swapping to Sol to deal a limit with. Yeah, you could. You definitely could. Anyway, like I said, I'm full on Solana, so. I've already earned $4 on the Sol USDC chart. You can see here 10 cents, 7 cents on the debt. So the debt's actually pretty good today. I mean, things don't go up forever, Dre, technically. But like if you look at stocks, you look at the housing market, you look at the, things like that, like those do go up forever, right? Like inflation always is going up, right? There's a lot of that. So, yeah, the borrowing on Jupe, on Sol, on a lot of these are actually not too bad right now. The utilization rates are fairly low, so that's good. John Freeman said, sorry, a bit late. Is it possible to go over your Jupe Sol position on DeFi Tuna, or was it JLP Sol? Yeah, it's a Jupe Sol. I have Sol USDC. Oh, sorry, I was just in it. I have Sol USDC pool here, and I have a Jupe Sol pool. But if you're talking about the Jupe Sol pool here, I have a range. I don't remember exactly. It was like 6 or 7%, maybe 5%, but it's 0.004153 on the lower side and 0.004855. I might have should have gone slightly long on Jupe because of the hype around Jupe and the buybacks and everything. But ultimately, I think it's probably fine. This is earning 1% a day. So this is actually fairly wide compared to where I have been. Also put my limit, my lower and upper limit orders, which is like my stop loss and take profit just above just above and just below the range here. And the goal here is just to sit in this as long as possible. I also only did a 2x in leverage because that means I'll take less in permanent loss near the edges. And I'm also in a delta neutral position, meaning I borrowed 100% Solana, and it put me at a delta neutral of 0.5 as well. And so let me see if I created another pool. Yeah, basically I did this. I did 2x. I did, my collateral here, and then I did 100% borrow. This puts us in a delta neutral, and then 0.00415. Yeah, it was like 8%-ish. Yeah, it was right around here. It was roughly 8.2% on either side is what I did. And I did it set up just like this. And then you set the limit orders just outside of it and create the position. So that's how I set it up. Again, like ideally with Jupe moving similar to Sol, like it's definitely going to not be perfect. Like you can see here, Jupe is slightly more than Sol, depending on what happens with Sol. But ultimately, this should stay fairly close in range. And we can actually look at this. If you go to the price of Jupe, you can actually look at the range that it stayed within. And so if I go to Jupe and then I swap this to, what the heck is ethics? What did I just click? No idea what that is. All right, so we go to Jupe here, and then you look at it for Solana instead of USDC. You can see that the range that it stayed between, if you're looking at it like kind of at a medium distance here, you can see like at its peak, it was at 0.0056. And at the very bottom, it was at 0.0044. Now, obviously, it goes above this and below this slightly here. And then obviously it's above here as well. And so it's not going to be like perfect, but you can see like for the most part that it stayed between this range. And so you could set it up like this, like 0.0055 is much higher up than this. If you wanted to, you could set it up like that if you just want to like absolutely stay in range and not look at it. You'd have to go pretty wide though. Yeah, so 0.0055, you're at 18%. And then on the low side, it was 0.0044. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it goes up even higher here. But yeah, I mean, 0.0044 is kind of on the lower side. So it actually, that seems pretty drastic here. Is that right? 0.0044 is the lowest that it's. So I guess it's on the lower end of its range. So really we should be slightly dupe long on this instead of delta neutral like I am. It's more likely that it's going to come up. And so after we've set in this for a while, we may end up reversing or closing out. And when we add it back, we may end up going a little bit long because this is showing that like you could set it up like this and that this should like 6.5% down and 18% up. Of course, you could, again, come a little bit tighter, but if you wanted to earn more, but you'd be earning 0.3% a day roughly. And so you could do this if you just wanted to like be much more passive. So that's something to look at as well. I'm pretty active, so I'm good with just watching this pretty closely, and I don't expect to be in it forever. I do expect to stay in it for a while, but honestly, it may end up pushing too close to the end of this range either later today or tomorrow. So we'll see. If I need to get out of it and readjust it, I will. But just know when you set up a position on DeFi Tuna, you pay a fee on the front end, right? So you don't want to just like close it out right now because you'll lose money, right? And the way that you calculate that fee is it's just 3 zeros and a 5, so 0.0005. And then you're paying it on your total size. So on the lended amount and yours. And so I would do like the roughly $18,000. Oops. 0.0005 times 18,000. So a $9 in fees. So I need to make at least $9 before I close this out to be even. And then obviously if it moves too far to the edges, I'll lose a little bit on that as well. So you want to close it out as close to the center as possible. But if you are in a delta neutral position, that'll affect you less on like a 2x leverage than it would be if you did higher leverage or not delta neutral. All right, I think I'm going to hop off. It looks like, just looking at the market, looking at Sol, it's moving back up a little bit here. So that's a good sign. It does look like the MACD's crossed and it's starting to separate. So it does look like we could see some more movement here, which is, like I said, a good sign. I could even set up like a another long here if I want to. You could also just buy with USDC. You could buy some Solana, which I'll probably do some of that as well. But as the MACD is crossing, we're down a little bit because we opened our initial one up at like 181. And so this is kind of a way that we can offset this. We added a little bit more to it down here, which lowers our overall position. I think we got into it. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, the sawtooth reversal strategy, I've done a video on this. If not, please do. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do one on that one specifically. I might do some other ones on some different strategies. I definitely plan on doing some more videos on stuff like that. So we'll see. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate it so much. Thank y'all again. We'll keep watching the market. Let's chat in Discord some more. I'll be on Wednesday as well. I may be going over Thorbot and looking at it as well and how I use it to make trades. You can see Jeeps moving up pretty good here. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all so much. Have a good day.